You know what's funny about small talk? Most people treat it like the opening act at a concert. It's the thing you awkwardly sit through just waiting for the real show to start. Deep conversations, meaningful stuff, the good stuff. But here's the plot twist. Every single connection you've ever had started with small talk. Yeah, even your best friend. At some point, it probably began with something painfully awkward like, so, what classes are you taking? Or, nice weather, huh? Let's unpack how to use small talk and why it's easy, really, when you know how. Now, here's an unpopular opinion. Small talk isn't about the words, like at all. You don't need a script or icebreakers or to be absurdly charismatic. You just need this one underrated skill, active observation. Let's be real. Most of us go through the day with our heads buried in screens. But if you put your phone down for 2 minutes and just looked around, you'd notice something important. Every person around you is silently broadcasting hundreds of little signals. What they're wearing, how they're standing, the way their eyes keep darting toward the exit like they're planning an escape mission. That stuff matters. Active observation is about noticing those little things and turning them into conversation openers, not creepy ones, not weird interrogations. Just simple human stuff that makes someone feel seen. Because at the end of the day, that's all people really want, to be noticed in a non-weird, non-cringe way. And when you do that, boom, you've just leveled up your small talk game. Why this works. First, people love feeling seen. First, people like to feel seen. Not in that I can see into your soul, TikTok poet kind of way, but in the, hey, I acknowledge you exist as a human kind of way. It's basic psychology. We're wired to seek validation, even in tiny doses. Second, it's disarming. Second, when you make a casual observation, you're not putting people on the spot. You're not asking them, so what do you do? Or where do you see yourself in 5 years? Which, by the way, is a terrible question at a party unless you're a guidance counselor. You're just tossing a conversational ball in their direction to see if they want to toss it back. Real-world example time. Scenario 1. Coffee shop. You're at a coffee shop. Someone next to you is holding a worn-out book. Now, most people would say, "What are you reading?" Harmless, right? Wrong. That's pressure. You're asking them to summarize the plot, justify their taste, and sound smart. Instead, try, "That book looks like it's been through some stuff." It's playful. It's observational. Maybe they laugh and say it's their third reread, or maybe they say they hate it and just want to finish it out of spite. Either way, you've started a conversation. Scenario 2. Party. Now let's go darker, socially speaking. You're at a party, you're introverted. Someone walks by with a plate of mystery meat. Instead of silently judging or hiding near the houseplant, say, "Is that the chicken?" It looks like it fought back. You're not asking a deep question. You're making a shared joke, and people love shared jokes, even strangers. Where you can use this, the beauty of active observation, it works everywhere. First dates, networking events, family reunions with that uncle who thinks the earth is flat. It's versatile, it's simple, and best of all, it takes the pressure off you. You don't have to be smooth or witty. You just have to notice stuff. Real talk. This stuff actually works, even when it doesn't. Now look, this isn't just some armchair theory I pulled out of thin air. I've seen it work a lot. But hey, I've also seen it go hilariously sideways. Let me tell you about one time it didn't go quite as planned. I was at this art gallery thing, and I saw a woman standing next to this weird, abstract sculpture. It looked like a toaster that had been run over by a lawnmower and then blessed by a modern art demon. So, trying to be clever, I walk up and say, "Please tell me you made this because I have so many questions." She gives me this blank stare and goes, "That's my husband's piece." Yep. Now, I could have melted into the floor, but instead I just laughed and said, "Well, he clearly sees the world in ways the rest of us mere mortals don't." Respect. She laughed too. We ended up having a surprisingly great conversation. And that's the point. Even when it flops, being present, being observant, and being real can still carry you. The truth is, this skill isn't about being smooth. It's about being human. When you start paying attention, when you comment instead of interrogate, when you risk a little awkwardness, you actually create space for genuine connection. That's the whole game. So, yeah, sometimes you'll say something dumb. Sometimes they won't respond. Sometimes you'll compliment a painting someone's kid made thinking it was by, like, a professional. It happens, but you get better. And most of all, you stop overthinking and start enjoying these little micro interactions that make life feel a bit more connected. Okay, back to your regularly scheduled awkward social interactions. How to practice active observation. So, how do you get better at this? Easy. Step 1. Look up. Literally. Get out of your phone. Take out your earbuds. Pretend you're the main character in a detective show. Start noticing. What are people wearing? Are they fidgeting? Are they checking their phone like they're waiting for an escape text? These tiny details are all clues. Step 2. Turn observations into comments. This is where most people freeze up. They overthink it. What if I sound weird? Newsflash. No one cares. Everyone's too busy worrying about sounding weird themselves. So when you see someone wearing a neon yellow jacket, say, "That's a bold choice. I respect it." It's not Shakespeare. It doesn't have to be. It just opens the door. Step 3. Get comfortable with silence. Not every comment turns into a full-on TED Talk. That's okay. You're not trying to force magic. You're giving people the chance to engage. If they don't, you move on. No awkward exit strategy required. Bonus round, make it personal. Here's where things get really good. Let's say you're at a Halloween party and someone walks in wearing a tie covered in rubber ducks. Most people would ignore it or say, "Nice tie." But you're better than that. You say, "Okay, I need to know the story behind the ducks." Now you've made it personal. You've turned their tie into a conversation, and you've made them feel like they have something worth sharing. This works with literally anything. Shoes too clean? Those look like they've never seen a sidewalk. Over-the-top coffee order? That's a suspicious amount of whipped cream for a Monday. Dog with attitude? Your dog looks like he silently judges everyone. I respect it. Again, you're not being weird. You're just noticing. One important rule, mean it. This only works if it's genuine. People can sense fake interest like sharks smell blood. If you're doing this just to get through the moment, it'll flop. But if you're even a little curious, even if it's just, "What's the deal with this person's outfit?" people can tell. And they respond. Final thoughts. Here's the truth. Most people aren't bad at small talk. They're just not present. They think they hate small talk because it's shallow, but small talk isn't shallow if you're paying attention. It's just the first layer, the front door to deeper stuff. And once you get good at this, small talk stops feeling like a chore. It becomes a game. You start noticing more, you enjoy the reactions, you relax. You stop stressing about what to say because you realize it doesn't matter. What matters is showing up, paying attention, and making someone feel seen. So next time you're in line and the person ahead of you is holding a weirdly specific drink or wearing a hoodie from a college you've never heard of, say something. Not to impress them, not to network, but just to see what happens. Worst case, they ignore you. Life goes on. Best case, you just made a real connection.